Hello, Seiiti Arata. Don't live and die without knowing who you really are. Many people confuse social approval with personal success. Are you one of them? Do you wake up already feeling pressure in your chest? Do you look at your calendar, you feel no excitement even though you're super busy? Your calendar is full. On paper, everything looks good. You have a respectable job, you maintain stable relationships, you achieve things that others admire. But deep down, something feels off. There is an emptiness you cannot explain. And then you think that you should be grateful. But that forced gratitude just makes you feel guilty, so you keep changing goals. You chase new promotions, new projects, new relationships. You hope the next thing will bring you finally some satisfaction, but it doesn't, because none of these things come from your true self. The problem here is not a void. The problem is an allergy to living a fake life. You live in fear of getting it wrong. You want every decision to be approved by others, and then you perform all day long, and you've forgotten who you are underneath the surface. That performance. And that emptiness feels worse because when there is nobody to impress, you feel lost. This is not moral failure, it's not lack of gratitude. This is just the logical result of a predictable psychological process. Now here's what happened. Your parents didn't train you to live your own life. They trained you to be a version of them who caused no trouble. Most people live decades chasing goals that don't belong to them. They study what their parents told them to study. They pick careers that look impressive. They build socially acceptable relationships. And then they wonder why they feel empty when everything seems to apparently be going well. You see, in your childhood, you learned to hide parts of yourself. Maybe your spontaneity was punished. Maybe your emotions were mocked. Maybe your ambition was called selfish. And then you adapted. You shut down parts of who you are, and then you learn to act in ways that other people approved. And that behavior became automatic. You kept performing, even though it clashed with your true preferences. And then over time, you lost access to what you really want, what you feel, what you believe. You forgot who you are. And now you mistake that trained behavior for your personality. Now, here's the real problem with that, is that you no longer know the difference between your real preferences and the behaviors that you learned to gain approval. And if someone asks you, what do you really want? Your mind doesn't ask yourself, it just asks, okay, what is the right answer? What is gonna be well received? And this creates three predictable problems. First of all, you make decisions to impress others, not to meet your real needs. Second, your energy drains away. You're working on things that don't really excite you. And third, you feel anxious all the time. You keep watching yourself from the outside, just trying to please everyone. To fix this, you need to reconnect with your real preferences. And I'm gonna share with you three techniques that will help. The technique number one is an identity layer method. This comes from cognitive behavioral therapy. It helps you to notice when you confuse social roles with your true identity. You're gonna separate 20 minutes, get pen and paper, and then you're gonna write down your current roles. For example, I'm a manager, I am a father, I am the reliable one, I'm the funny one. And then you ask, if I would stop being this, who would I be? And go one by one. If I stop being a manager, who would I be? If I would stop being the reliable one, who would I be? If I would stop to be the funny one, who would I be? Notice which role feels the most threatening to lose. That's the one where you're confusing the role with your identity. You believe that losing it would erase your value. And then you write it down. And you can also ask, okay, who's the one who's observing all these roles? That's the you. That's the real you. Who's deciding when to change masks? Who's watching this? That's you. That's the real you behind the mask. Your roles are not who you are. They're just clothes that you wear. Don't confuse this with your body, with yourself. Imagine Carlos listing that he's an engineer, obedient son, a father, and when he tries to imagine life without that role as a father, now here he can see his deep values. Care, responsibility. He has also a role of an obedient son. And when he drops it, he feels relief, because that role is trapping him in being constant agreement with his parents. You see, some roles are hiding who you really are. That's something very important to notice. The technique number 2 is an authenticity body scan, because your mind uses, this is going to use somatic mindfulness. Your body reacts differently when you are being true to yourself versus when you are just performing for others. You're going to start by scanning your body. Sit still, take 3 deep breaths, notice your muscles, your temperature, your breath, and I imagine making a choice that impresses others. Something that your parents or society would admire. Hold that image. How does it make your body react? How do you feel? Do you feel tense? Your breath gets shallow? Now imagine making the choice that you truly want, even if other people would disapprove. And hold that image. How does that make your body feel? Compare both reactions. When the choice is feeling like it fits your true self, your body feels lighter, your breath deepens. And if it's a choice just for approval of others, your body gets more tense, it contracts, your breath shortens. Imagine somebody being offered a promotion, something that requires constant travel, but she's thinking of accepting it to impressing other people, right? And then she does that. The body feels tense. When she imagines declining and spending time on her creative hobbies, she feels more calm or light. The body is telling the decision. And it's not about prestige, it's about creativity. This is what really matters. Technique number 3 is a daily energy log. It comes from dialectical behavioral therapy that helps you to track what is draining you energy, what is giving you energy. For 1 week, track 3 times each day, morning, afternoon, and evening. Number 1, what were you doing? Be very specific. Don't just write, I was working. Say, I was writing this budget report. I was meeting this client. Number 2, your energy level from 1 to 10. And number 3, whether you are acting from your real preference or you're just trying to please other people. And at the end of the week, you're gonna look for patterns. What energizes you when you're acting naturally? What drains you when you're just performing? Energy never lies. If something keeps draining you, and that's not right for you, no matter how much it pays or how much admired you get. Imagine somebody who gets a score of 8 in energy when he's meeting people, but in a natural way, his authentic self. But when he tries to be more diplomatic and please people, it drops to 3. So in this case, direct leadership is more aligned to the real preferences, and being more diplomatic is draining. The important thing is that true preferences are not always easy or fun. They include values like discipline and challenge and growth. And what matters is this, that when your work matches your values, you gain energy. When you try to fake it, to please others, even easy work can exhaust you. Authenticity is not comfort, it is alignment. If you want the full system to explore your true values and design life around it, you can go to the link arata.se/planning your life. And why does this matter? Living by your true preferences, it can change everything. You stop chasing approval, you stop fearing every decision, you stop comparing yourself to people with different goals. You make decisions faster and with more confidence. You stop asking yourself, like, what would other people think? And you start building stronger relationships because people finally see the real you. And your work becomes meaningful because it affects who you really are. Life improves when you stop to be just trying to be someone else. That's how you become the best version of yourself. Knowing your real preferences is not a luxury. This is essential. Because without that clarity, you keep choosing based on other people's expectations, and that gives you a life that looks good, but it just feels empty. And with clarity, you start choosing what gives you real satisfaction. Every decision starts to make sense. It now reflects who you really are. Start now. Do the activities. Do the identity exercise this week. Before your next decision, do the body scan. Stop living on autopilot. Stop performing for others. Start choosing based what is real for you. When to accelerate this process with a structured method, you can go to the link arata.se/planning your life.